Hey guys, what's up? It's me, IAmTheLionRider, and I'm back with part 3 of our Let's Build Roger Williams Park Zoo. And I'm joined here by my lovely guest, Lemur. Say hi.
Hi, how's it going?
So today I believe we're going to be, I don't know what we're going to be doing. Nick?
So today we're picking up where we pretty much last left off, which is the bathroom and Watusi Wildebeest zebra exhibit. So right now I'm just going in and adding some of the details to the bathroom. Now I will say, off camera, you mentioned something that I made a big oopsie on.
He made it goofy, yeah.
Well, do you want to explain it? Yeah.
So basically, Nick, during the entrance area for where you get your tickets and stuff and you go through, there's a bit of like a wooden overhang bit, and let's just say he missed the spot on there. And so it looks like there's I think it's the corner that it doesn't have the wooden overhang part, and so it looks like really goofy.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure of it at first, but
yeah, it's definitely there. So that's my mistake. I have to go back and fix it at some point. So
and later on you'll see him stare directly at it and then not fix it.
There you go. There are your Pepsi machines. Now, they're not directly the Pepsi machines that are in the actual zoo. I kind of based them off the old design they had. So back in the olden days, probably around 2005 or so, they used to have Pepsi machines that had animals on them. So they had cheetahs or giraffes or whatever. And
that's still Pepsi brand?
Yes, they're still Pepsi brand, but they I guess must have replaced them kind of recently with the more modern ones that are just they just say Pepsi and have the normal Orange Crush Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, that sort of thing. So I could do those. I think I actually might go back just for authenticity, and make them the actual Pepsi machines. But
I mean, you already put the brand of bricks in, so.
Yeah, so just for the sake of that, I think I will change them to the Pepsi machines. But for now, I just use the soda machines that I made for a few different things. It's on the workshop right now. I'll put a link in the description of the blueprint for that. So if any of you want to grab that,
it also has a bunch of other stuff on.
I do. I have a few other big ticket items. Some of the popular ones include I have a playground that's pretty popular. I have a lemur and red panda kiosk that are pretty poppin', and I also do other kind of one-off builds for some of the zoos. So I have the Bronx Zoo elephant house. I have that up as a blueprint, as well as the Bronx Zoo sign. So
don't you have random Disney stuff too?
No, those are on my Planet Coaster blueprints.
Sorry.
So I do have those, but. So going in here, I'm just touching up the bathroom more. Now, the bathroom's a really weird design, on the inside. Because it's, got these, kind of, bamboo thicket areas, but then, the roof is steel, and the sides are brick, but they're different color bricks. So, off camera, I actually go back and I change the color of the bricks to be, the brownish tint that they actually are. But right now, I'm, trying to find another, like I said, I'm always digging through different types of wood, and I don't know what wood to use at any given point. So for this specific case, I decided to use these kind of smaller, just general wooden planks. I think I used those actually for I forget what I used them. It wasn't for the fence; it was something else. But basically, those work well for using against those column bricks of wood. So right now I'm going in and I'm trying to add in the stroller sign. So I can't do posters. That's another thing that we were talking about, is Planet Zoo is missing a lot of really basic things for some reason.
Yeah, it is.
There's no strollers, there's no soda machines, there's no I can't do a poster of anything. And there's no banners. That was a big surprise for me. Is a game that has so much customization and stuff. They don't have signs that you could actually really customize beyond some text.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't have like image banners that you can do.
Exactly. Like I know like Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 had those where you could just download an image off the internet or something and like just there it is. It's displayed.
It's probably just because of the community aspect of things. They don't want people putting naughty images on banners.
Yeah, which that's understandable. So the other thing is I bounce around a lot in this episode. So this episode has a lot of bouncing around different areas and a lot of me fighting with Planet Zoo to until I get it to do what it wants or what I want.
There's a section coming up where I think you fight with like one path that you just can't get
for a while. Like I fight for a long time. And so right now luckily I'm in the nice part where I'm just adding foliage, which I will say adding foliage is like a nightmare and like a blessing. And so there's just so much foliage that I have to add for it to look nice, but it's like a necessary evil. And so I like placing it on its own.
Right.
But when I'm doing big clumps of trees and stuff, like it can be a pain.
Yeah.
Especially because right now I'm actually doing some of the behind the scenes faculty buildings. So I don't think this building per se is I want to move the location because it's not where it should be, I don't think, on the map satellite view wise. So I do want to go back and change that eventually. And like I said, the other thing is I'm just trying to figure out like what the equivalents are in real life. So I have a guest perspective of the zoo. So I've been to the zoo in person a lot, and I have the Google satellite image or overhead, but I don't have the kind of what was that?
You fought with like that wall for like such a long
time. That's nothing. You have no idea. I will fight with paths and stuff for a good solid 5 minutes straight. Like I guess it'll be sped up, but like it'll still be a while. Just because they're so annoying. Right now I'm fighting with the roof because I'm like, it's not letting me place it down. Right here, I'm like, I just want a straight path there. So the other thing I found a little weird, right, is they have these staff paths, but they don't have a nicer looking version. I'm pretty much forced to just do the octagon design, which I'm not a big fan of.
Only one.
Yeah. So right here, I have some trees in the background. But I know that I need to have a stable area where, this is, I think, an older stable that they used to have where the zebras and wildebeest and stuff used to sleep in, but they don't really use it as much anymore because they built a new one. And so I'm just trying to figure out what I want to build in. What the heck? I don't know. But, so I'm trying to get in, all the details. I don't know if you can see in the street view. The stables have these kind of feeding windows, and so I try to include those wherever I can. So I have them roughly where they should be, approximately. They're not ideal, but they're pretty close to what they should be. So right now I had to replace them with glass because I don't really, they don't have the kind of chain link area or thing that I would have ideally wanted. So it worked okay. And now I'm just trying to figure out what I want to actually use for a stable column. I think I settle on these. I changed the color. Oh wait, no, I changed it. I go back to I grab wood from all over the build because I just try to figure out whatever works the best for what I need it for. So I needed kind of I guess square rectangular pieces of wood that were kind of thick for this area, so I just kind of grabbed those. Now I finally get around to adding some actual things to make this a livable habitat. So right here I'm adding some of the bedding in, and I think food and stuff later on. Yeah, I had to move it just because I think it was the bedding was kind of moving some of the terrain down, so I just wanted to raise that back up again. And then now I'm moving those trees back into place the best I can. Again, it's not going to be 100%. I just try to get it as approximate as possible. So, also I found out there's a lot of dead logs in this zebra exhibit.
Yeah.
A lot. Like, I don't know why. But, like, I don't know if, like, I assume they put, like, feeders or something in them. And, like, they're just, like, a good thing to, like, hide.
Yeah.
But I'm not entirely sure, because there's just a lot of them.
It just kind of looks like corpses on the street view.
Well, because they kind of look like a mixture of, like, rocks or, like, tree branches or, like, a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I should also mention, if you see any pauses in the video, that's actually me going back to the street view to, like, check on reference right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually the reason why you're seeing the cuts in the video. I didn't keep the Google Street View clips in like I did last time. So that's actually just on a different screen if you were wondering why I'm, like, peeking off and, like, for a second. Now, this building that I'm making right now has to be... I don't know if I like it at all. Because I'm really not sure what it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the stables. Like, I've been to the zoo, so I know it's the main stable area. Where they where they sleep, where they eat, where they get taken care of. And behind it is a whole, like, parking lot area for, like, the tractors and transport vehicles and stuff. So I know that exists. But you can never get a really good view of it because it's way in the back of the exhibit. And... like, I can't even really tell what the building shape is. Because there's a lot of, like, really weird square windows that are, like, layers of more square windows.
Mm-hmm.
So what I actually did was... so right now I'm approximating based on the street view of what I see when I go to the zoo. I'm like, I see that there's a big building in the background. I know it's a stable area. And I know there's some windows. And so...
just get a job there, dummy.
I mean, you know, I could. Well, I got a new job. So.
You could put Planet Zoo on your resume.
Yes, expert in Planet Zoo.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm adding some of the toys in that they have. They have, like, kind of like a green scratch post or whatever, which, you know, that's pretty standard for a zoo thing. And I'm constantly, like, trying to look at I compare the view I have in Planet Zoo to my street view. Just so that I can, like, try to get a, like, you know, am I doing this justice right now? Because ideally, like, since I'm going for, like, the, like, kind of, like, super realism, they should be identical. You know what I mean? Like, I should be able to be like, yep, that all lines up, that's all the same, I have the same sight lines, that sort of thing.
And I think this is where that's kind of like where you start to get distracted with things, because you'll, like, look at the street view and then you'll see something else you can change, so you'll, like, completely abandon what you were working on.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, the building. So the building's just... yeah. I didn't finish it. There's no roof on it. But I'm like, oh, there's rocks on the side of the... I need to add this little rock wall. And then I just start decorating the rock wall. And that's just what I start doing for a bit. And, yeah. So I'm like a scatterbrain when it comes to, like, doing this, just because... my mind is just like, oh, I need to go for this, and then I have to do this, and I have to do this. And so, luckily I saved some time here. I don't go and add a ton of more rocks, I just copy and paste them. But I do go back and fix some of, like, the bigger ones for, like, whatever reason. I don't know. I'm also, like, changing the fence. Now, at one point, I have the fence really low on the other view, but if you actually look in the street view, I believe it has a full, like, the fence is pretty much, like, covering your entire view. So I think at this point I realize that and I raise it back up so that it's, like, at the appropriate level. Now, what I find amazing, right? So I thought that this exhibit would not be able to actually work for Planet Zoo. I was like, these fences, I have some of them at, like, less than a meter. So there's no way it's gonna contain, like, the zebras could just jump right over it. But no, it apparently registers perfectly fine. It's like they can only walk where they're supposed to walk. They can only go in the buildings that they're supposed to go into. And it worked perfectly the first time. And I'm amazed by that. So, I don't know if, like, you know, maybe the Roger Williams Park Zoo is very... they're following the Planet Zoo metrics or something. But accidentally, they made a perfect exhibit, I guess, for... or, yeah. That's fair. So, they accidentally made a perfect zebra exhibit.
Yeah.
By the Frontier metric.
Also, in the zebra path, isn't there, like, an overhang?
There is. So, I changed that afterward. So, the building I have right now gets changed a lot. because I realized a lot of like little things I didn't notice. I added some of the food stalls and stuff. I hid them where I thought was appropriate. So there's like certain areas like by the logs and stuff, I thought like that would make the most sense. Like you wouldn't just have like this giant like trough or whatever like out in the open. So like I assume they have the feeders and stuff hidden behind rocks and logs and stuff. So I had those bedding areas, and I think coming up, I add these chain link fences because I see that like there's clearly a wall there. But then I checked the satellite view around this time, I think. Oh, this is actually, but before I do that, I fight with the path system. So I want to move the entrance to the zebra exhibit to, like I said, where that parking lot is, where I know that they actually like feed the zebras and stuff from. So I want to move the entrance where they're dropped off into this building. But I think around this time is where, I find the satellite building, or the satellite view of the building, and I'm like, wait a minute. There's like, this building is not actually where the yard is. So what I found is there's actually like 2 layers of wall. And so there's the first layer of wall, which I did accurately build, and that's fine, and that has the chain link fence. But then it looks like there's like 3 individual like holding yards almost for the zebras. So it looks like it's just like a place where they can like, kind of quarantine off like individual animals if they need to. And then like those are just the holding yards. So it looks like they go to sleep and stuff in the main interior building, but if they want, they can also like go out into these little paddocks. They're just not allowed on the main yard. So I had these little like separation stalls or whatever. They're really tiny compared to what I assumed they should be. Because I was looking at the aerial view and I'm like, yeah, that's not big at all. Yeah. But it looks like it was just like, you know, like kind of a fluke in the system or something. Like, I don't know. Like I said, when I first used the on top replica program in the first episode, it was a little smaller than I wanted. So I think everything in the entire build should probably be about like maybe like 1.2 times bigger.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty close, but it needs to be a little bit bigger.
Nick.
Oh, here we go. So this is the path system, and I'm trying to connect everything up, and I'm like, this is a mess. Because
How it looks from like afar.
I start fighting with every system there is,
Like
including my computer, mind you, because my computer.
Yeah, I keep seeing those pop-ups.
Yeah, it keeps doing this, and I changed the fence to this kind of like peaked roof because I think on the satellite view it's a little more clear that it's supposed to be a peaked. Peaked roof. So here we go. So next to the stable on the satellite view, there's this white extension to this stable. So I'm like, that's perfect. That could be the veterinary building or whatever, or like quarantine or something, which makes sense. You know why they would want a building specifically to like, you know, house. Oh, one of the zebras is sick. Okay, let's move it into this building. And it just wasn't letting me attach it to the building.
Well,
no matter what
path over here that's not connected.
Yeah, no matter what I did, I'm trying to like add this path to connect it. It is just not letting me. No matter what, I'm like, okay, what if I move it? Maybe it's the ground. The ground isn't level or something. And so I'm like, okay, I'll delete everything. You know, let's try to replace it. Okay, is that working? No. Okay. Let's try to. I don't know. Let's flatten the terrain. Let's just like, what do I want? What do I need to do to get this to work? Because this is the perfect building.
You can see like you like moving the mouse out of anger.
Yeah, because I know I'm like, this is the perfect building to put in this. It's the right height, it's the right shape, it's the right size, and it makes sense. So I want to get this building in. I'm like, look, I'm literally building. I'm like, I know I need this building here, and I just go, you know what? Fine. I'm not gonna get the quarantine building in there. It's just gonna be an empty hole. And hopefully I can put something in there someday. But it's just not letting me for now. So I add some trees in or whatever. And so for the most part, that is the exhibit. So now what I want to do is I focus on the immediate area outside of the exhibit. So there's a big chain link fence that leads from the parking lot to the main path. And you can kind of see it off in the distance. So I just quickly add that in. It's just up on a hill, so it's nothing like crazy. I think I modify the hill right here, because I think I made it like way too tall initially. because it is like a tall-ish hill, but it's not like nearly as big as I made it out to be originally. So I cover that in soil because in real life it's kind of like this mulch area. It's actually kind of like not that pretty of a area, if I'm being honest. Like it's just mulch and like dead grass and like a couple of scattered trees, but like not like, oh, this is a nice garden area or anything. It's just like kind of like messy.
I mean, kind of. I'm not gonna lie to you. Kind of the whole zoo is a little messy.
Oh yeah, I mean that's most zoos, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I was like, I haven't been to like many zoos where I'm like, wow, this is, oh my god, this is so well kept and pretty. I mean, it's usually like kept for like nice exhibits, and then like the paths can just be like forest. It doesn't really matter much. So I'm back to the. I think. Wait, do I do it?
Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is.
No, I totally ignore it. I'm like, wait, did I actually go and fix that little side cap? No, I just grabbed the poles.
I think this is when we first noticed it when we were watching this part back before we started recording.
Yeah, exactly.
You noticed that it was wrong.
Because it's true. And I'm glad you pointed it out, because I would have never thought about that. But you're totally right. So I literally grabbed the pieces, because I know I need this little overhang area or whatever. So I add that to this whole bathroom. And it looks fine. But then, yeah, I definitely need to go back and fix that. I can't believe I didn't have that originally. I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, yep, everything checks out. Everything's just hunky-dory. So at this point, I'm trying to find signs again that like kind of work for like the restroom and the stroller signs.
Can we talk about Plan 2 fonts?
Yes. So I do have an issue with that. Because they don't even have any basic fonts like Arial or anything. They just have like these weird, like obscure fonts that
It's like the Planet Coaster one.
Exactly. So it worked for Planet Coaster because you're talking about like, oh, we have a Western font for the Western area or a sci-fi font for the sci-fi area. But it doesn't work when you're applying it to a zoo where everything should be kind of like a kind of like jungle font or like
where are you,
regular text. Because I'm grabbing the pots. Because if you look at the bathroom, they have like little flowers and stuff in front. So I'm just copying those over. Like I'm just such a scattering. Because I'm looking at the references and I'm like, oh yeah, there's flowers here. There's 2 trash cans here. I should work on the flowers now. So let's add some flower pots, shall we? Like, and so I'm adding flower pots, and I'm like, okay, what flowers can go in here? It's stupid, but, I was just trying to get all that accurate. So now I'm looking at this sight line, and I'm like, okay, well, I need to... Yep. Oh, there's 4 soda machines, not 3, so I need to add the 4th one. Which, at this time, I actually add in, like, another one that kind of resembles a Pepsi machine. I did the Pepsi colors.
I think you tried, and then I think you, like, deleted it.
Yeah, so I, like, gave up. Well, because it wasn't looking right for what I wanted. Because I remember back in the day, the Pepsi machines had a cheetah on them. Now, there's no cheetah sign in the game. There's a jaguar. There's no jaguar in the game. But, so I was like, yeah, what if I kind of hint at a Pepsi machine by doing, like, kind of the blue, red, and, like, the white streak? And I'm like,
just looks off.
Yeah, so I just went, nah, let's just make it blue. So this next part I'm actually really proud of. So this is going to be the Africa entrance sign. So I'm very shocked I was able to do this as well as I did. I had no intentions of even doing this originally. Because I was like, there's no way I can actually create a sign that detailed. And what's crazy is I think I might be able to do it a second time later down this path when I get to the first gift shop. They have 2 signs, or they have a zebra and a giraffe, and they look exactly like the ones available in the sign form in Planet Zoo. It's like kind of crazy that I might actually be able to do that accurately too, because for all intents and purposes, I should not be able to do this.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to do this, and I'm like, well, this is going to be a little bit big, but maybe I can make it work. I can at least get it to say Africa with an orange sign, because I'll pull up a picture of the actual sign right now, but basically it has kind of like an acacia tree in the background, and then a bunch of African animals, and then a big thing that says Africa in red. So luckily I was like, okay, well maybe I can get the elephant sign if I use the baby elephant. But then when I look up the giraffe, I'm like, holy crap, they have a giraffe at just the right size and just the right color. And they also have an elephant just the right size and just the right color. If it was any other color, if I say, let's say the actual sign had them white or something, I couldn't do it. Because the elephant and the giraffe would only be black. They're like, these signs are supposed to be like kind of metal, so they're like not colorable or editable or whatever. And so I just lucked out that they just happened to need to be black. And so I basically got the sign pretty accurate. It's obviously not one-to-one. Like, I couldn't get the little people in, or like, I think they have zebras and stuff in the sign. But I'm pretty proud that I was able to get it close. Because I'm very shocked I was able to like,
it even resembles it is quite
exactly. Like, the fact that you could look at that and be like, oh yeah, that's that. Oh, that's me messing with the gizmo, though. Yeah. It's me fighting with the gizmo.
Why
so,
you like laughed and he came back to fix it?
Yeah, I don't know. I actually think I want to move it over slightly too. I think it's a little off-center now that I'm like looking at it a little more closely. But that's pretty much the episode right there. I'm just quickly, you know, checking up on some stuff. I'm like, okay, is everything all set? I copy some trees around because I'm getting upset that like that back area is kind of barren. I off screen I like kind of fix those up a little bit, but that's pretty much it. So the last thing I have to do is add in all of my animals. So I added my 3 zebras, which I actually know the names of the zebras. It's Tundra, Samantha, and Zipper.
Ooh.
They're 3 girls.
There's some trivia for you guys.
Yeah. So off the camera I also changed the names of them to be those. I don't know the names of the Wildebeest or the Watusi, to be honest. I want to know, but I don't know what their names are. So I'm just dropping in the staff, and that's it. So now you can just pretty much enjoy the little cinematics I have of the screenshots.
Nope.
Up. There we go. Adding trees first. There we go. There's the cinematics. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you for episode 4, where we'll be creating the cheetah exhibit. So thanks for watching, and see you later.